This YCN segment is brought to you by Harris Family Furniture in Plymouth, Laconia, and Chichester.
You are watching the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters award-winning YCN Game of the Week. Today we are at Woodstock High School in Vermont for a gridiron clash between the Wasps and the Blue Devils of Poultney High School. The YCN Game of the Week is brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire. MJ Harrington & Company, jewelers and designers since 1948, committed to crafting the finest quality jewelry for our customers. HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist for the most complete line of energy products, and enjoy a level of superior customer and on-site service. La Valley and Middleton Building Supply, home improvement and construction from concept to completion in 10 locations in Vermont and New Hampshire. My TV every weeknight from 8 to 10 on WYCI. Watch their new season with Law & Order: Criminal Intent, Chicago PD, Dateline, The Good Wife, and CSI Miami. Mount Sunapee, a special New Hampshire ski and summer resort. They say we are familiar, we are warm, and we are fun. We are Sunapee. Mascoma Savings Bank. With no shareholders to please, they are committed to remaining independent and to reinvesting profits in the community. And by Bubba's Bar and Grill, offering fresh salads, hearty sandwiches, brick oven pizza, entrees, and award-winning seafood chowder. Welcome into Woodstock High School for another YCN Game of the Week. Today, the Poultney Blue Devils travel to take on the Wasps. Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Zerhide, your host tonight. This should be a very good game. Two powerhouses in Division III taking on one another. The Blue Devils come into this game with a record of 4-1, while the Wasps are undefeated at 5-0. It should be a good one. And this Poultney Blue Devil team is going to be a run-first offense. We're going to be keeping an eye on guys like number 22, Jacob Allen. He is a senior running back. And their quarterback, number 20, Caden Catman, he is a junior. He's going to be dropping back to throw the ball a ton tonight. And for the Wasps, we're going to be keeping an eye on number 33, Caden White. He is a senior running back. Look for him to pick up a ton of yards. Also, number 22, Trevor White, the quarterback. He's a junior. Caden White is definitely going to be picking up most of the yards on the ground, but don't be surprised when Trevor White drops back to pass a number of times. So this exciting Vermont Division III football game is coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Here at Woodstock High School, the Wasps kick off to the Blue Devils. Little bobble there. It's number 22 from Poultney. Jacob Allen there, the senior, one of the players we highlighted, but he's able to pick it up, maintain possession for his team. So Woodstock 5-0 right now. Poultney 4-1. Very good Division III football matchup here.
First down, Poultney at the 16-yard line.
Both these teams definitely run first offenses, but their quarterbacks have pretty good arms. He's throwing a little bit, I'm sure. Here's the snap, run up the middle. Pick up of maybe about 2 or 3 there. The YCN scoreboard sponsor is La Valley and Middleton Building Supply. Home improvement and construction from concept to completion. Poultney lost last week to Fairhaven, their first loss of the year. Fairhaven, a powerhouse in Division II, though. That was going to be a tough one to win. Another run for Poultney. Right up the middle again. Not much of a gain.
Another run up the middle for.
They needed 7 yards there. Looks like they picked up
Third down and 4.
about 3 or so. So that's going to bring up 3rd down and 4 now. Poultney starting far back near their own end zone. David Catman, still the head coach of Poultney, having a very good year this year. There's the snap, another run right up the middle. And that was basically the same play, 3 in a row. That's going to bring up 4th down now. I don't think there was any gain on that one, so 4th and 4 now. Big 4th down early on. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Newberry Harbor, serving brick oven pizza and much more. So now 4th and 4. Poultney trying to pick up a 1st down, and they will punt. This ball goes to Woodstock's own 45-yard line. Was bobbled, but recovered. Looks like that was number 80, Evan Alsup, senior there. Nice job by him. So Woodstock 5-0. They started off the year with a win against Linden Institute. Then they traveled to BFA Fairfax, won that one. Hosted Oxbow, traveled to Missisquoi Valley, and traveled to Mill River. They won all of those games pretty easily. They've scored 229 points on the season so far. So snap there, and immediately brought down.
Caden White on the carry.
That's Caden White there on the carry. Poultney's defense was ready for that one. So no gain. 2nd and 10 now.
2nd down and 10.
And the Wasps' defense, they've only allowed 42 points on the year compared to the 229 they've scored. So right now, Woodstock is rolling. Trevor White, quarterback, lines up behind center. A couple men behind him. Takes the snap, hands it off. And there's Caden White.
Caden White up.
Number 33, usually number 44 or 45. But he's having his jersey repaired. So he's wearing number 33 tonight. Picked up maybe about 4 yards there. It's going to be 3rd down and it looks like about 6. And the Wasps last year lost to Windsor in the Division III finals in overtime. So they were nearly champions of Division III, but Windsor stopped them. And there's a pitch. It's number 5, and he is down the right sideline for a big gain. Ooh, that might have been a face mask. Yeah, it was a face mask. So number 5, Ben Marsakovatiri, the senior running back, picks up a big gain there. And the tackler just grabbed him by the face mask. Easy call there for the ref to make. So Woodstock will be awarded a few more yards after the end of that play. Next week's YCN Game of the Week will be traveling to Middlebury as the Panthers host the Seahorses of Burlington. This game will premiere next Saturday night at 7 p.m. on WYCU and WYCI, and at 5 p.m. on WYCX. So they got the 1st down and more on that one. Nice run there by Ben Marsakovatiri. So Trevor White lines up behind center. Caden White behind him, man in motion. Caden White gets the snap, gets the handoff. He picks up just a couple of yards there.
Caden White on the carry.
Woodstock needs to do a better job of blocking for their backs. Obviously, that run before there by Ben Marsakovatiri was a solid one. He found the hole there. But when Caden White has the ball, a number of Poultney defenders are getting to him quickly, penetrating the offensive line. So Trevor White lines up behind center. Caden White behind him again, man in motion. Some trickery there, and Ben Marsakovatiri gets the handoff. And he is in for the touchdown. Maybe about a 15 or so yard run there. Ben Marsakovatiri with the score. So the Wasps up early with 7:48 to go here in the first quarter. And now Woodstock will line up to take the extra point. Trevor White with the snap. Oh, it was a bobbled snap. Maybe this was their plan all along. And that's number 11, Micah Schlabach. the senior running back. Trick play there. It looked like maybe it was a low snap. But maybe that's what they wanted all along. So the Wasps up 8 points here early on with 7:48 to go here in the first quarter. We will take a break. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week. We'll be right back.
This YCN segment is brought to you by LaValle Building Supply and Middleton Building Supply.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhide here on the call. We are in Woodstock, Vermont at Woodstock High School as the Wasps are taking on the Poultney Blue Devils. Woodstock just scored an opening touchdown. They are up 8-0 here with about 7.5 to go here in the first quarter. Ben Marsicovatiri ran in about a 15-yard rushing touchdown. And then they went for 2 on kind of a trick play, and they got it. So Woodstock up early. Another bouncer to Poultney on the special teams kickoff. Oh, yeah. And helmet came off. Good job by all the players there. They realized that Jacob Allen there lost his helmet. That was going to be dangerous. Everyone kind of just stopped. Good job by everyone playing it safe. But again, another bouncing ball. Jacob Allen is forced to recover. Poultney's backed up way far into their own end zone once again. Now premiering every Saturday night at 6 p.m. is Yankee Chronicle, followed by Vermont Rap with Keith Hansen. Compelling interviews and provocative commentary regarding today's hot-button political and social issues in Vermont. So Poultney lines up. Their quarterback Caden Catman, the junior, behind center. A couple men behind him. They will run the ball. And that was number 81. Not sure who that was. Don't see an 81 listed on Poultney's roster, which is pretty common for high school rosters, I'd say. A couple men left off. So the Blue Devils picked up about 8 there. That was a pretty solid play. Got some blocking. Really Poultney, 4 offensive plays. They've all just been runs right up the middle. So again, 3 men behind him. Another run. And that will get them the first down, plus maybe about 4 or 5 yards. So Poultney, really, they're going to be hitting the ball off a lot tonight. It looks like there will always be 2 or 3 men behind the quarterback. And one of those 3 guys will be getting the ball. Just got to watch out for those fake handoffs and the quick handoffs. It's definitely a run-first kind of offense. So Caden Catman behind center, 3 men behind him, and another handoff into the ball. The ball might have come out, nope. And that is Jacob Allen there with the run. And it looks like there was a 1-yard loss. Gabe Marsicovatiri with the tackle there. A couple of Marsicovateris on this team. Gabe, one of the stars on the Woodstock basketball team. They have a very good basketball program. So now 2nd and 11. Another handoff. This one goes right back to Jacob Allen. I think he's going to be about a yard short.
Jacob Allen on the carry. By Jed Asbury.
And I guess they will give him the first down. Maybe a little generous, but Poultney gets the call, moving the chains forward. So the Blue Devils having a lot more success on this drive than their opening drive. So Catman behind center, 3 men again behind him, and a quick handoff there to Allen. He'll pick up maybe about 5 or so yards there.
Jacob Allen on the
and if you're Woodstock, I think you know your offense will probably put up a decent amount of points in this game. If they can just avoid giving up on defense, if they can just avoid giving up those big touchdown plays, if they can just let Poultney move the chains, but have them take a ton of snaps, make it hard for them. If they can give up just a couple of rushing touchdowns over long drives, that would be okay. So I think the Wasps offense is really going to do good things here tonight. So Caden Catman again behind center, 3 men behind him. Jacob Allen is one of them. He gets the handoff again. Ooh, and runs right into Catman, and that cost them. Looks like no gain there. Going to be 3rd down in about 5.
Jacob Allen on the carry. Tackled by Ora.
Jacob Allen is definitely
3rd down and 5. No gain.
one of Poultney's main backs here. And Poultney last year, they were in a joint squad with Mount St. Joseph Academy. I think that lasted 2 years. They were the number 7 seed going into the Division III playoffs, and they actually lost to Woodstock in last year's quarterfinals. So this is a rematch of last year's 2017 Division III Vermont High School football quarterfinals. And Catman keeps it himself, and he is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to bring up 4th down in about 6, loss of maybe about 1 yard. It looked like a fake handoff to Jacob Allen, but Catman kept it himself. So Poultney now facing 4th and 6 on their own 47-yard line. David Catman, Blue Devils head coach, he's going to have to decide what to do here. And it looks like they will punt this one away. Definitely not 4th down territory, so probably a good call here. Not a bad punt there. And Woodstock's number 11 gets the edge. And he will get brought down on the Wasps' own about 43-yard line. And that was number 11, Micah Schlabach, there with the return in another flag down. Not sure if that's unsportsmanlike, maybe some taunting or a late hit. Flag was thrown at the end of the play. So we'll see what the refs say here. And face mask on Poultney. So their 2nd face mask already in this game. We're not even out of the 1st quarter. So Woodstock will take over on Poultney's 39-yard line. So the Wasps once again starting in really good field position. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Echo Communications. Call them for all of your printing needs. Check for all of our air times by clicking on schedules at ycnnow.com. So Trevor White again behind center, man in motion. And that's number 12 from Woodstock. That's Jed Astbury, the senior running back. Nice run there by Astbury. That'll move the chains. Quick 1st down for the Wasps. And like I said, Woodstock coming into this game, they've scored 229 points between the 5 games coming into tonight. So their offense has been rolling here. They're looking to score again. So the Wasps on their own, or excuse me, on Poultney's about 26, 27-yard line. Handoff. And that's number 5, Ben Marsikovitiri. He is brought down. Maybe had some forward progress.
Tackled by Heath Mason.
Yep. And looks like it'll be about no gain.
2nd down and 11.
So Poultney, 4-1. In week 1, they got the forfeit win over Mount St. Joseph Academy, who isn't able to support a football team this year. They've had to surrender their season. And then the Blue Devils beat Windsor by 3. They beat BFA Fairfax by a good amount, and they beat Mill River. They lost to Fairhaven. So now Woodstock here, and with the throw, and that's Caden White with the reception, and he stays in bounds. And he was brought out of bounds.
Pass completed to Caden White.
Caden White was fighting there for the touchdown, almost had it, but was brought out at about, looks like about the 7-yard line. So 1st down, Wasps continuing to move the chains. And I believe that was the first passing play of the night for either side. Wasn't a deep throw, just a throw to the sideline, to the running back. Caden White, let him run with it. So Trevor White behind center. Caden White with the handoff up the middle, and he is in for the touchdown. And a late tackle there. We'll draw the flag. Don't think it was a dirty tackle. I think the player was in the end zone. Clearly he scored, but the refs are going to call that one. So Caden White with Woodstock's second touchdown. And the refs are asking Woodstock what they want to do with the flag.
Personal foul, Poultney.
Yeah, and that late tackle was a personal foul against Poultney. Not sure why they haven't added the touchdown to the scoreboard yet. And I guess he was down before the end zone. And there's okay, no, it was a touchdown, so that's the 2-point conversion. Ben Marsikovitiri runs that one into the right side.
Woodstock 16, Poultney 0.
So now the Wasps are up 16-0. And Woodstock taking a commanding lead here early on. 1:44 to go here in the first quarter. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Lake Sunapee Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhide here on the call. We are in Woodstock, Vermont at Woodstock High School. Poultney Blue Devils taking on the Wasps. Woodstock just scored their second touchdown. They're up 16-0 here early on in the first quarter. Another bouncing ball to Jacob Allen, but Allen will let the ball go out of bounds. So Woodstock will get the penalty. Poultney now will start in more favorable field position. Their first two drives, I think they began on a back beyond their own 20-yard line. So now the Blue Devils starting on their own 35. Stay tuned at the end of our telecast for the HR Clough Kearsarge Heating Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. We'll choose the team member that had the greatest impact on tonight's contest.
Kicked out of bounds, it'll be Poultney.
So the Blue Devils 4-1 on the season so far. They've had a good one. In week one, they won the forfeit win against Mount St. Joseph Academy, a team they had a joint squad with the last two seasons. But then in week two, they beat Windsor 15-12. That's a good win. And they traveled to BFA Fairfax, won that one. They traveled to Mill River, won that one. And last week they hosted Fairhaven and got beaten badly, but the Slaters are a good team. So Poultney there. Looks like about no gain. Running back got to the line of scrimmage. So it'll be second down.
Second down and 8.
Oh, no, it looks like they picked up a couple yards, so second down and 8. And yeah, this is a rematch of last year's Division III quarterfinals when Woodstock beat Poultney 42-20. So Poultney hoping for some revenge here tonight, not exactly going their way early on. There's a handoff to Jacob Allen.
Jacob Allen on
the
the
right
carry.
sideline. Picked up a few yards. Looks like it's going to be about 3rd and 5 now.
Third down
Poultney
and
on
5.
their own
Woodstock
40-yard line.
Poultney.
Poultney definitely moved the ball better on their last drive, but Woodstock's defense has been very solid, forcing 2 punts. And again, the Wasps have only allowed 42 points coming into this game on defense, so they're a very hard team to score against. And there's the snap, handoff to Caden White. Again, up the middle. Gain of maybe about 3 yards. And Poultney again facing a 4th down situation, this time almost midfield. Not exactly 4th down territory.
4th down and 3.
If you're the Blue Devils, you gotta think If you punt the ball here, Woodstock could go down the field and score, so maybe you want to go for it and be aggressive here. And the first quarter comes to a close. So Woodstock up 16-0. Really good quarter here for the Wasps. We'll take a break as well. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by MJ Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948.
The YCN Game of the Week is brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire. MJ Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948, committed to crafting the finest quality jewelry for our customers. HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist for the most complete line of energy products, and enjoy a level of superior customer and on-site service. LaValley and Middleton Building Supply, home improvement and construction from concept to completion in 10 locations in Vermont and New Hampshire. My TV every weeknight from 8 to 10 on WYCI. Watch their new season with Law & Order: Criminal Intent, Chicago PD, Dateline, The Good Wife, and CSI Miami. Mount Sunapee, a special New Hampshire ski and summer resort. They say we are familiar, we are warm, and we are fun. We are Sunapee. Mascoma Savings Bank. With no shareholders to please, they are committed to remaining independent and to reinvesting profits in the community. And by Bubba's Bar and Grill, offering fresh salads, hearty sandwiches, brick oven pizza, entrees, and award-winning seafood chowder. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhide here on the call. We are in Woodstock, Vermont at Woodstock High School. Poultney Blue Devils taking on the Wasps. Poultney's offense now 4th down here. And did he get it? Oh, it is so close. I think the refs will give it to him. But that is incredibly close. Yes, they will give him the first down. So nice job. I believe that was Poultney's quarterback, Caden Catman there, stretching out to get the first down. Nice job by him. Did not want to turn the ball over there. And as I was saying, against this Woodstock offense, you got to be aggressive here. You can't just punt the ball. So good call by them going for it on 4th down. Looks like maybe a false start. I don't know if that was on Caden White on Woodstock or if the lineman jumped from Poultney. Refs will talk this one over. Today's telecast is being brought to you in part by MJ Harrington, jewelers and designers in Newport, New Hampshire. And you can watch any of our local shows anytime at YCNnow.com. So the penalty is against Woodstock. Poultney now 1st down and 5 right on the 50-yard line. The Blue Devils need to put some points up on the board. Just feels like the Wasps, with how strong their offense is, they will have no trouble scoring when they have the ball. So if you're Poultney, you got to hold on to it and extend these drives. Really got to score here. Probably go for it on every 4th down. And there is a pass out to number 81. Not sure who that is because he's not on the roster. Nice catch by him. I believe that's the first throw by Poultney. Caden Catman there.
First down, Poultney.
So Poultney moving the chains. 1st and 10 on the 55-yard line. And Poultney's offense has scored 160 points coming into this game, so that's not bad. And there is Catman, or excuse me, Jacob Allen. With, I believe, a 20-yard run there. Nice job by him finding the hole. Got some blockers, avoided a couple tacklers. So that's a big play for the Blue Devils. Poultney showing some life. Only down 2 scores, of course. 16. Woodstock does have two-point conversions, but just a 2-score game here. Poultney moving the ball down the field quickly. Jacob Allen with the handoff. And did the ball come out? The ball is out and Woodstock recovers. So the Wasps defense coming through there after allowing a big running play to Jacob Allen.
First down.
So Woodstock, whose defense has only allowed 42 points coming into tonight, makes a big stand there. So the Wasps take over. And this will be the longest drive they've faced so far here tonight, but good job by their defense. It seemed like Poultney was gaining some steam, some momentum, moving down the field, but Woodstock there, big fumble and recovery. That really takes the wind out of Poultney's sails. Woodstock man in motion. That's Ben Marskovatiri, and Caden White gets the handoff. Picks up a few yards there, maybe about 2 or 3, so it's going to be about 2nd and 7 now. Tune in every Saturday at 9 p.m. for Sports Wrap, taking a look at local high school sports.
Second down and 6.
Yeah, number 17! Looking like
So 2nd down and 6 now, Woodstock on their own 25-yard line. And here is a snap and a throw out to number 11, Micah Schlabach. And a spin move there, avoids a tackler, gets all the way to the 50, or Poultney's 49-yard line. Schlabach, nice play there. And both teams, they don't throw the ball very much. But when they have, it's just kind of been these horizontal sideline to sideline throws and then let a receiver or running back make the run, make the play. But a nice one there. Woodstock's offense looking very solid here tonight. So 1st and 10. Here's the snap. Caden White gets the handoff, and he is brought down. That is Mason Hutchins, number 66, the senior from Poultney. Big tackle there. Hutchins is a big guy.
2nd down and 8.
If you're a running back, you don't want to run into Hutchins. He will bring you down. Nice job by him winning the one-on-one battle against Caden White. So last year, Woodstock lost in the Division III championship game to Windsor in overtime. In that overtime, Windsor scored a touchdown, and Woodstock had to match that touchdown, and they threw an interception into the end zone, which sealed it for Windsor. So the Wasps just came up short of a championship last year. Another handoff there to Caden White. He goes up the middle, picks up about 5. Looks like that'll bring up about 3rd and 2 or 3, maybe 4 there. So the Wasps facing now 3rd down and 3.
3rd down and 4.
Today's game is being brought to you in part by Mascoma Savings Bank, mutually owned with no shareholders to please. If you want your local event televised into YCN's nearly 300,000 TV households, contact us at info@ycnnow.com. So Trevor White behind center, quarterback. And there is a timeout. Poultney wants to talk this one over. Here head coach David Catman calls TO, so we will take a break as well with 8:08 to go here in the 2nd quarter. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Mount Sunapee Resort. Fun for all seasons.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. I'm Andrew Zerhide here on the call. We're in Woodstock, Vermont here. Blue Devils taking on the Wasps. Woodstock now 3rd and 4, and there is a bobble in the backfield. I think Woodstock recovered.
Recovered by Ben Marskovatiri.
And that was Ben Marskovatiri there with the recovery. So 4th and 7 now. First 4th down the Wasps have had to face here. We'll see what Woodstock's head coach Ramsey Worrell wants to do here. They're just over midfield. And Poultney's offense hasn't been extremely successful tonight, but it looks like the Wasps will punt. Up by 16. Don't have to go for it here. Good call. Decent snap. Not a bad punt either. And that one will settle at about Poultney's own 18-yard line. So that's where the Blue Devils will take over.
Let's go, 1.
Tune in every Saturday at 9 p.m. for Sports Wrap, taking a look at local high school sports in our area. And following that is Sports Talk, where you can check out our region's pro teams with the Salt Hill Pub NFL Picks of the Week. Well, the Blue Devils taking over now. They are backed up deep into their own territory, deep down the field. Poultney had a decent drive last time, but came up short with the fumble. And really, most plays from Poultney, you can expect senior Jacob Allen to get the ball. Always has at least one fullback, maybe even two fullbacks blocking for him, trying to create some holes. Jacob Allen did have a 20-plus yard run on their last drive, but the Wasps once again came up big, forcing the fumble, recovering. Woodstock wasn't able to take advantage on the scoreboard. They had to punt and turn the ball over themselves, but still a really good defensive effort there. So now another handoff to Jacob Allen right up the middle, and he is brought down once again. So definitely two run-first offenses here tonight. I believe Poultney has only thrown the ball once, and that was really kind of a sideline-to-sideline throw. Haven't exactly seen either team air the ball out down the field yet. But that is pretty typical of high school football. Keeping to the ground a lot. So here's Caden Catman here with the snap, and he drops back to pass. And incomplete. So that will bring up fourth down. I believe his intended receiver was Eliza Rosario. So now 4th and 5 with 6 minutes left to go, and Poultney will punt this one away. Cannot give up a turnover on downs here with how far they are backed up, so good call. And the punt there goes just past midfield to about the 35-yard line. That is where Woodstock will take over. So with just under 6 minutes to go here in the first half, we will take a break. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by New London Hospital, an affiliate of Dartmouth Hitchcock.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhide here on the call. We're in Woodstock, Vermont. The Poultney Blue Devils are taking on the Wasps. And there's a handoff there to Micah Schlabach, and he has got room on the left sideline. And can he get around one man? He is brought out of bounds. And Schlabach there with a big run. Picked up maybe about 40 yards there. There was no one on the left sideline. He had a ton of room. Woodstock's offense is rolling. It's going to be 1st and 10 from Poultney's. It's about 17-yard line. So the Wasps with a quick drive there, moving the ball very fast down the field. And there is a handoff to Caden White up the middle.
Caden White up the middle.
Caden White, more of a power back, picking up the
second down,
gritty, kind of the hard yards up the middle, but then got Ben Marscovatiri, an elusive back, and of course we saw Schlabach there on the play before. So Woodstock has a number of offensive weapons that they are using. So Trevor White behind center, Caden White behind him in the backfield. One man out on the wing, man in motion. That's Ben Marscovatiri. Trevor White rolls to his right, and he throws to Ben. And Ben Marscovatiri makes the catch, gets the first down, and that will move the ball to just about the 1 or 2 yard line, I believe.
First down.
So the Wasps once again marching down the field. Hopefully in the second half, Poultney can figure some things out because Woodstock's offense is just doing whatever they want. So Trevor White lines up right behind the center, Caden White behind him. And there is number 12. And that's Jed Astbury. So Astbury gets the handoff. He runs it in himself for the 1 or 2 yard touchdown.
Asbury on the carry.
Woodstock adding to their lead. Now they're up 22 points. A little trickery here on the extra point. Looks like they will kick it, but in their first extra point was a bit of a fake. Oh no, another fake. And Trevor White easily finds, I believe that's Gage Laurie, the junior tight end, for the 2-point conversion. So the Wasps with their third 2-point attempt, and it is successful. So Woodstock now up 24-0 here with 4:32 left to play in the second quarter. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Lake Sunapee in Newberry Harbor.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. We are at Woodstock High School, where the Wasps currently lead the Poultney Blue Devils 24-0 with 4:32 left to go here in the second quarter. This game has been all Woodstock so far. Poultney had one decent drive, but stopped short by a fumble. And another bobbled kickoff recovery by Poultney. That's happened at least 3 times here tonight. But the Blue Devils will take over on their own 30-yard line.
Poultney at the 30-yard
YCN is affiliated with the Heroes and Icons Network on WYCI and WYCU. Watch our new programs every weekday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and MyTV on WYCI from 8 to 10 p.m. and Outside Television on WYCX. So Poultney now 1st and 10. Caden Catman, the shotgun, takes the snap. One pump fake, he throws it up. This might get picked. Oh! And it looked like Charlie Amato, the senior defensive back there, might have had to play on the interception, but he got tangled up. And that ball was dangerous there. Poultney is lucky that didn't get picked off, because it seemed like that ball was in the air forever. Probably one of the reasons the Blue Devils tend to keep the ball on the ground. So with 4:17 left, 2nd and 10 now. Catman behind center, he hands it off to Jacob Allen.
Jacob Allen.
So Poultney not a ton of success here in this first half.
3rd down and 7.
Just the one solid drive, but that came up empty as Woodstock forced a fumble and a recovery. And this Woodstock defense and offense, they've just been clicking. Everything has been going so far in Woodstock's way. And there is a pass. And that was number 14, Eliza Rosario, off his hands. Caden Catman there with a pretty good throw. And that will bring up another 4th down, going to be about 4th and 7. Obviously, you can't turn the ball over here on downs, give Woodstock really good field position, but also if you punt here, the Wasps, maybe it won't matter what field position they have. They're going to march down the field and score. It's a tough choice. 4th and 7 is tough to get. So there's the punt. Yeah, and a Poultney player there slapped the ball. I guess the whistle was blown. So Woodstock now, they will take over just beyond their own 35-yard line. So up 24-0. Let's recap some of the scoring in the first quarter. 7:48, Ben Marsikovitiri ran 15 yards for the rushing touchdown, and then with 1:44 to go in the first quarter, Caden White ran in a 5-yard touchdown. And then just a few minutes ago, Jed Astbury ran in a 1-yard touchdown. So all rushing touchdowns now, and Poultney will take a timeout. We will take a break as well. So with 3:21 to go, Woodstock up 24-0. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhide here on the call tonight. We're in Woodstock, Vermont. The Poultney Blue Devils are taking on the Wasps. Right now, Woodstock up big, 24-0. Hand off there to Caden White for the right sideline, and that looks like a first down. Woodstock has just done such a good job of moving the chains here.
Second down and 1.
Really, their offense has just been rolling. I think they've had one punt, they had one drive that didn't result in a score, but their other 3 drives came up with 8 points each, 3 2-point conversions. So the Wasps up 24-0. Ben Marsikovitiri has a touchdown. Caden White ran in one, and so did Jed Astbury. So the Wasps now, that wasn't a first down, so 2nd and 1. And a throwing play, just off the hands of Harrison Nunez.
Harrison Nunes, incomplete.
Almost reeled in by the senior, couldn't quite hang on to it. Nice try there by Nunez, and it was a good throw too by Trevor White. Just couldn't make the play. So 3rd and 1 now. And you got to believe if you're Woodstock, even if you don't get this 3rd and 1 and you face a 4th and 1, maybe you'd still go for it just because your offense has been that effective. So a couple men behind Trevor White now. Caden, and that's going to be a false start.
False start, Woodstock.
Against the Wasps.
5-yard
That's going to make the first down even more challenging now. It's going to be about 3rd and 6. Knock them back 5 yards. So, 3rd down and 6 now. 2:34 to go before halftime. Woodstock, right now they're undefeated, 5-0. Most of their games have been blowouts. So they're very strong this season. And Trevor White rolls back and he throws up. And that ball almost intercepted.
For Gage Laurie.
Pass was supposed to go to Gage Laurie, but it was lofted just a little too much.
Down and 6 for the Wasps.
The Wasps. Lucky that one didn't get picked off. So Woodstock now 4th and 6. It was 2nd and 1. Looked like they were gonna march down the field, but a missed catch and a penalty knocked them back, so they will punt this one away. Pretty high punt there. Didn't get too far down the field, and it takes a Woodstock bounce. So Poultney will take over on their own 30-yard line.
Gage Laurie. First down.
So 2:14 to go here. We'll keep it right here. Poultney 4-1 on the season, as we said before. In week 1, they got the forfeit win against Mount St. Joseph Academy, a team that they had a joint squad with the last 2 seasons. So the green wave for Mount St. Joseph Academy, not able to have a football team this year. And then in week 2, Blue Devils won that game against Windsor 15-12. The Yellow Jackets from Windsor, the Division III defending champs. And remember, Windsor just beat Woodstock last year in the championship in overtime. So Woodstock almost right now, they almost defending champs. There's another handoff to Jacob Allen, the senior. Jacob Allen's having a heavy workload here tonight, I'm sure. That's the case most games.
Jacob Allen on the carry.
And if you're Woodstock, if you're on their defense, you got to assume Jacob Allen is going to get the ball. Seems like if they run first down, second down, and third down, Jacob Allen is going to get the ball at least 2 of those plays. Another hit. Oh, nope. Fake handoff to Allen that time. And a throw off the hands of.
Third down, Poultney.
I believe that was 96. He is not on the roster either. Poultney's roster not complete, but that will be a third down and 7, it looks like. So the Blue Devils on their own 33-yard line, trying to put some points on the board before the break. And there is a handoff to Jacob Allen along the left sideline, and he is brought out of bounds. Pickup of maybe about 4.
Jacob Allen on the carry.
And that will bring up another 4th down. The Blue Devils have been faced with a ton of 4th downs here. I believe they've punted on every 4th down except 1. They were successful in moving the chains. 4th and 4 to go. It looks like they will punt once again. And there's a pretty good snap. A couple of defenders almost got in to block it, but not quite. And there's Woodstock's number 12. Jed Astbury, and did the ball came out? Did Astbury fumble? Yeah, Poultney has taken over. Wow.
On the fumble recovery.
That's a huge play there from the Blue Devils. Just when it looked like Woodstock was going to get the ball back in, get in another drive with a minute 15 to go, Poultney forces the fumble on the special teams. So they get the ball back, and now they're in the best field position they've had all night, just beyond the 25-yard line. And there is a whistle. And on that play, number 12, Jed Astbury, he could have just gone down, taken the punt, tried to stay on his feet and fight a couple of defenders. Not sure why.
Timeout on the field.
And the result of that play is a fumble. So Poultney, it's a big recovery. And I'm not sure if there's a timeout was called or what the call was. Refs discussing something. Oh, and they're talking about the clock, asking for 1:20 on the clock now. So the refs just trying to sort some things out.
1 minute, 20 seconds.
All right, so here we go, Poultney. 1st and 10 from Woodstock's about 25-yard line with 1:20 to go here before the half. Let's see if the Blue Devils can get on the board. They desperately need some points. So Caden Catman gets the snap, and he looks to Jacob Allen with the short pass. And Jacob Allen was almost brought out of bounds. And Jacob Allen rumbles into the end zone for the touchdown. Right along the left sideline. Maybe a couple of Woodstock defenders thought he was pushed out of bounds, but there was no whistle, and Jacob Allen kept rumbling forward, picked up the touchdown, and Poultney is on the board with 6 with a minute left to go here after that big fumble recovery. So Poultney's special teams giving them a favor, getting the ball back. Now the Blue Devils pulling a little trickery here on the extra point. See if this is an actual extra point kick or if it's a fake. Woodstock has done that a couple times tonight, and it looks like an actual kick. And that ball is up, and it is good. So Poultney gets on the board with 7 points with 1:08 to go here in the second quarter. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Harris Family Furniture in Plymouth, Laconia, and Chichester.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. We're at Woodstock High School in Woodstock, Vermont, as the Poultney Blue Devils just got on the board against the Wasps with a drive, with a fumble recovery and drive they desperately needed. Now 24-7. And Woodstock's Micah Schlabach, another good kickoff return.
On a great return.
He's had a number of solid plays here tonight, Schlabach. So Woodstock, with 1:03 to go, will take over about midfield. The Wasps in good field possession to score and try to get those 7 points that they just gave up back. And I believe that touchdown Woodstock gave up was only their 7th touchdown allowed on the season. And here's a pass from Trevor White deep. Oh! And his intended receiver was Harrison Nunez.
Pass intended for Harrison Nunes. Broken up.
But Eliza Rosario was there to bat the ball away. Nice job by Eliza. That was definitely a deep pass. One of the deepest we've seen here tonight. But Rosario was there in the secondary, stayed on his man. Nice play by him. So now 2nd down and 10. Woodstock still on Poultney's 46-yard line. And there's a decent run there by Caden White. Up the middle, running to the left. And he picks up a 1st down. Pickup of about 11 or 12 there.
Tackled by Heath Mason.
So 51 to go. The clock did stop for the chains to move, but now it is going. Trevor White behind center. He takes the snap, hands it off to Ben Marsicovatiri on the right side. He's got some space, and he is going to score. That's a 35-yard rushing touchdown by Ben Marsicovatiri, the senior running back. Just like that, Woodstock gets the points back. Number 5, Ben Marsicovatiri. He had the blockers in front of him. Nice job by Woodstock.
You can't do that.
Scoring their 4th touchdown of the first half here. And this looks like a regular extra point, but it is blocked. So Woodstock will settle for the 6th. They go up 30-6. 33 seconds to go here. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhide here on the call. We're in Woodstock, Vermont, as the Poultney Blue Devils are taking on the Wasps. Woodstock just put in their 4th touchdown of the first half here. They were up 30-6 with 30-7 with 33 seconds to go. Woodstock kicking this one off. And kind of another bobble there, not as bad as we've seen. And the Wasps will tackle their man just at about Poultney's 30-yard line. In addition to airing on our 3 TV stations, all YCN games and programs are posted for your viewing pleasure anytime at ycnnow.com. And you can also click on schedules for replay times. So Poultney now, they did get on the board before halftime with 7 points after a big special teams forced fumble and recovery gave them a short field. Jacob Allen ran 25 yards for the rushing touchdown, but Woodstock just got those points back with another rushing touchdown from Ben Marskovatiri. So Poultney now, and it's a keeper, kind of a quarterback sneak, but not a diving quarterback sneak. That's a 10-yard quarterback sneak there. And that is their quarterback, Caden Catman. So Poultney wants to take a timeout. They'll talk this one over. With 21 seconds to go, Woodstock up 30-6. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by La Valley Building Supply and Middleton Building Supply.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week here at Woodstock High School. 21 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Poultney on their own 40-yard line, 1st and 10. And Catman, he's going to run himself. Oh, almost lost the football. Able to hang on, though. Caden Catman, the junior. And that's 2 straight quarterback keepers. And they will quickly line up now. 1 second to go. Will they get the playoff? And no, they will not. So, at halftime, Woodstock up a commanding 30-6. Poultney scoring 1 touchdown after the fumble recovery. But the Wasps up big here. And we will take a break as well. We'll be right back with the third quarter action. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Lake Sunapee Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice.
The YCN Game of the Week is brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire. MJ Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948, committed to crafting the finest quality jewelry for our customers. HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist for the most complete line of energy products, and enjoy a level of superior customer and on-site service. La Valley and Middleton Building Supply, home improvement and construction from concept to completion in 10 locations in Vermont and New Hampshire. My TV every weeknight from 8 to 10 on WYCI. Watch their new season with Law & Order: Criminal Intent, Chicago PD, Dateline, The Good Wife, and CSI Miami. Mount Sunapee, a special New Hampshire ski and summer resort. They say we are familiar, we are warm, and we are fun. We are Sunapee. Mascoma Savings Bank. With no shareholders to please, they are committed to remaining independent and to reinvesting profits in the community. And by Bubba's Bar and Grill, offering fresh salads, hearty sandwiches, brick oven pizza, entrees, and award-winning seafood chowder. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerahide here on the call with the third quarter action. We're at Woodstock High School as the Poultney Blue Devils take on the Wasps. Woodstock up 30-6 here, or 30-7. And that Charlie Amato there with the return, a big hit.
On a quick scoop right there.
Looks like he's okay though. So Woodstock will take over on their own 45-yard line.
First down Woodstock.
The YCN scoreboard sponsor is La Valley and Middleton Building Supply. Home improvement and construction from concept to completion. So Woodstock with 4 first half touchdowns. Ben Marskovatiri with 2 of them. Caden White with another, and Jed Aftbury with another. All rushing touchdowns. And there is Schlabach. Micah Schlabach with another big run. He's had a few of those here tonight. And that moves the ball all the way to nearly Poultney's 30-yard line. So a 25-yard run there by Schlabach. So 1st and 10. Trevor White behind center, man in motion. That's Schlabach. Caden White gets the handoff. And he's going to pick up another first down, and he breaks free.
Touchdown.
And he scores a touchdown, making it look easy. Caden White with his second touchdown of the night. Barely 30 seconds in to this third quarter. And Woodstock already scoring another touchdown. We've seen both teams do this here on the extra point. Number of the line, they line up to the left side.
For the PAT.
They slap their hands and then they get into position. Not sure the advantage there. Maybe throws the defense off a little bit. We'll see if they go for two with the fake. Nope, going for the extra point. And it is good. Good snap, good kick. That's Jed Asbury there with the extra point. So the Wasps quickly add to their lead. They are up 37-7 with 1:26 to go here in the third quarter. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by MJ Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week here in Woodstock, Vermont. The Wasps playing host to the Blue Devils from Poultney, and Woodstock just scoring another touchdown. Now up 37-7. Coming into this game, we thought it was going to be a pretty good matchup. Poultney 4-1, Woodstock 5-0. But so far, it's been all Woodstock. Another bobble there. That's Jacob Allen, but he's able to corral the ball and run to his team's about 31-yard line. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Newberry Harbor, serving brick oven pizza and much more. Hey, local sports fans, 94.5 ESPN's Brett Franklin Sports Talk Show can be seen on YCN's WYCX Outside Television at midnight every weekday. So 1st and 10, Poultney on their own 31. I bet I could guess that Jacob Allen gets a handoff right here. He's behind center, and he gets the handoff right up the middle. Bit of a fight there, a bit of a scrum in the pile, and there is a flag.
Jacob Allen on the carry.
Couple of flags. Not sure what the call was. It is a face mask against Woodstock, so that will help the Blue Devils. They will take that flag. And that will give Poultney five yards, I believe. So Poultney now first and about 2 or 3 after that run. And the flag. And Jacob Allen again behind Caden Catman. And Allen gets the handoff. And Poultney really, they love running that play. Just a simple handoff to Allen, and Allen just takes it up the middle.
Jacob Allen.
Jacob Allen has had a number of solid runs, including about a 25-yard rushing touchdown back in the second quarter, right before halftime. And that score was off of Poultney's special teams fumble recovery, which put them in great field position. But besides that one touchdown, that's it for Poultney's offense. They've had a number of punts here. It looks like a quarterback sneak, but more of a run. Catman takes it himself.
Alden Shoemaker on the tackle.
Pick up of about 4 yards there, so 2nd and 6 now. Stay tuned at the end of our telecast for the HR Clough Kearsarge Heating Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. We'll choose the team member that had the greatest impact on tonight's contest. 2nd and 6. Caden Catman behind center, Allen behind him. Couple of fake handoffs. Catman rolls to his right, and that is a throw for
pass incomplete, broken up by Charlie.
I believe that was number 26. But it almost seemed like there was offensive pass interference there. The ball kind of floating in the air. Looked like Charlie Amato might have had a play on it. And he might have been held back a little bit by Poultney's intended receiver, but no flag. So now 3rd and 4. Catman behind center. Allen once again behind him. And there is a pass to Allen. Or excuse me, that is
completed.
That is number 86.
First down.
Thomas Dunbar, the junior, with the big third down reception, picks up the first, moves the chains. So Poultney past midfield here into Woodstock territory on the Wasps' 48-yard line. So Allen behind Catman, one man back there with him. Fake handoff, but it does go to Allen. Allen falls forward, picks up maybe about 5. About 4 there.
Jacob Allen.
So it'll be second down and 7. Just under 9 minutes to play here in the third quarter. The Blue Devils offense this year has been very effective. Coming into tonight, they had scored 160 points over their first 5 games. But they have allowed 108, which has been the problem here tonight. Woodstock's offense has been very strong. But Poultney here, second and 7. And that is a snap to Catman. He's going to run it himself, and he is tackled. Brought back. He will get some forward progress there, but
tackled by Ben Marsikovich.
But Ben Marsikovich makes the tackle for Woodstock.
Third down and 7.
And it will be third down and 7. Still 7 to go for the first down. And Blue Devils, they really haven't had any long drives here. They scored that 1 touchdown off of the fumble recovery. That was a short field after that. So the Blue Devils trying to put together a long drive, get some confidence going forward. And Catman, a couple of fake handoffs, rolls to his right, looks to pass, and he will keep it himself. Ooh, big hit there. Right at the first down marker. I don't think he got it. I think they're going to be short. Going to be about 4th and 1 or 2. But if you're Poultney down by 30 here, you might think about going for this. You are in Woodstock territory on their own, about 42-yard line. So Woodstock, if they were able to recover here on downs, they wouldn't have phenomenal field position. Poultney, you really got to score. I think you go for it here on 4th and about 3. But it's a tough call. Just the way Woodstock has been scoring and the way they scored to begin this third quarter, I would not give the ball back to them. And it looks like they will go for it here on 4th down. So this is a big play. Caden Catman lines up. One man in the backfield, and Catman keeps it himself. It's gonna be close. I don't think he got it. I think he's about a half yard short. Let's see what the refs say.
And they'll have a measurement.
Yeah, and one ref even had the ball backed up farther than that, so that might be a little generous, but looks like we will have a measurement. Yeah, the chains are coming out. This is a big call here. Does the drive stay alive, or do the Wasps take over? Woodstock takes over. Looks like the ball is just about a foot short of the first down marker. So the Wasps with a big defensive stand, they will take over with 7:26 to go here in the third quarter. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Mount Sunapee Resort. Fun for all seasons.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. We are here at Woodstock High School as the Blue Devils from Poultney are taking on the Wasps. There's a man in motion. Trevor White rolls to his right. He looks to throw, and there's number 17. That is Daniel Lessard, the junior, with the reception and run. Picks up about 40 yards, maybe 30 yards. Yeah, 30 yards with the catch and run.
Timeout.
Daniel Lessard Nice play by him. And it looks like Poultney will take a timeout. They want to talk this one over, so we'll keep it right here. Woodstock quickly marching down the field. And it just seems like the Wasps are going to score every time they get the ball. They've had one punt tonight where they had to turn the ball over with the punt about midfield. But besides that, they have driven down the field very easily. 37 points. They have been cruising. And again, Woodstock, almost currently the defending Division III champs from last year, as Windsor beat Woodstock in the finals in overtime over in Rutland. But this year it seems like, based on the Windsor-Woodstock rivalry, it seems like this year it's all about Woodstock. 5-0 right now. Windsor is 3-2. They had a winning streak come to an end this season after that they lost a ton of upperclassmen seniors. So that will be an exciting matchup in a couple of weeks. We'll be here covering that game, the annual Windsor-Woodstock game. That'll be fun. But first and 10 now. Trevor White with the handoff to Micah Schlabach. Schlabach picks up maybe about 7 yards there. Pretty good run.
Run into daylight.
So that'll be about second and third now. 7 minutes to play here in the third quarter.
Down and 4.
Today's telecast is being brought to you in part by MJ Harrington, jewelers and designers in Newport, New Hampshire. And you can watch any of our local shows anytime at YCNnow.com. So Trevor White lines up behind the center, 2 men in the backfield. That's Lassard, one of them. Schlabach is in motion. And Lassard gets the handoff. And he finds some room. Picks up the first down plus another 10 or so yards. Nice job by Lassard. Don't know if Lassard was really involved in the offense in the first half much, but they are using him in the second half. He's been effective so far. Woodstock, they have a number of skilled players on offense who can really move the ball. Trevor White, of course, the quarterback, but then you have Ben Marsikovich-Thierry, Caden White, Trevor Lassard, Micah Schlabach, Jed Astbury. A lot of different guys you can go to. So first and goal now. Trevor White looks to the right sideline and finds number 12. Jed Astbury for the touchdown. Throw to the right sideline. Astbury makes the play.
Touchdown.
Beats one defender. Takes a hit, but then rolls into the end zone for another touchdown. Woodstock now up 43-7. The Wasps' offense just cannot be stopped. They have too many pieces. And Woodstock's offensive line, you cannot forget them. They don't get enough love. They have been very solid tonight, creating holes for all of their backs to run through. See if this is a real extra point or not. Snap to Trevor White. Ball is up, and it is good. Astbury with the extra point. So Woodstock now up a big 44-7 here with 6:21 to go in the third quarter. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by New London Hospital, an affiliate of Dartmouth Hitchcock.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhut here on the call tonight. We are in Woodstock, Vermont, as the Poultney Blue Devils take on the Wasps. Woodstock up a big 44-7 here midway through the third quarter. It has been all Woodstock tonight. Their offense has been extremely strong and their defense just as much. Bit of a pile there.
On the kickoff return.
And Poultney brings the ball to their own 45-yard line, so that's where the Blue Devils will take over.
Tackled by Poultney.
Next week's YCN Game of the Week will be traveling to Middlebury as the Panthers host the Seahorses
First
of
down,
Burlington.
Poultney.
Poultney now 1st and 10 on their own, about 46-yard line. And the refs blow the whistle. Not sure what is going on right now.
This is one of our closer games.
Poultney's head coach David Cadman talking to one of the refs right now. And it looks like there is a penalty, or so I guess the ref's just figuring out the clock, the right time. 5:35 now to go. 1st and 10. Poultney desperately needs to score to try to get back in this game. And that's not going to do it. That is number 1, Preston Hall, the sophomore running back with the carry, but he is tackled for a loss of yards. Woodstock's defense has just been so solid here tonight. Only allowing the 7 points off of the Jed Astbury fumble, which was deep down the field, so the Blue Devils only had to go about 25 yards to score that touchdown, which they did, but that's it for their offense. And Caden Catman rolls to his right, avoids one tackler, a couple, but then gets brought down by a sea of green jerseys.
Tackled by Daniel Lasar.
So Woodstock there, maybe even more. They maybe even knocked Poultney back another yard.
Still 3rd and 14.
So 3rd and looks about 14 now, maybe even 15. And the Blue Devils started tonight with the ball, but had to punt drive after drive.
Pass incomplete.
And that pass is low. No way Eliza Rosario can make that play from Poultney. So that'll bring up 4th and 15. And this has got to be a punt here. It's going to be tough to get 15 yards in one play. So you definitely got a punt here, but it's, I mean, if you're Poultney, you're down by a lot. What do you have to lose at this point? They will punt the ball away. And it will rattle out of bounds at about Woodstock's 24-yard line. So that is where the Wasps will take over. So with 4 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Lake Sunapee in Newberry Harbor.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. We are here in Woodstock, Vermont at Woodstock High School as the Poultney Blue Devils take on the undefeated Wasps. This game has been all Woodstock so far. Trevor White there takes a handoff, gives that one to Daniel Lassard.
Daniel Lassard on the carry.
And I'm not positive, but Lassard might even
Tackled by
be
Jacob.
more of a JV player. I think a number of JV guys are getting in on this game, trying to get them some experience. But this game has been all Woodstock so far. The Wasps' offense has been rolling. Their defense has been rolling. And really the one touchdown they allowed was off of the special teams turnover, so might not even pin that on the D. So Woodstock with a complete game here. And this one is going to Jed Astbury, and he gets to the 40-yard line.
Jed Astbury
Pick
on the
up
carry.
of about 7 or so. Nice run by him.
Number 21.
So Woodstock moves the chains with 3:15 to go here in the third quarter. YCN is now affiliated with the Heroes and Icons Network on WYCI and WYCU. Watch our new programs every weekday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and MyTV on WYCI from 8 to 10 p.m. and also Outside Television on WYCX, America's active adventure lifestyle leader. So 1st and 10 now. Trevor White hands the ball off. Pretty good run there by Daniel Lassard, fighting for some extra yardage. Lassard, a junior. They have him listed as a fullback.
2nd down and 1.
So maybe he's getting some more carries here now that his team is up by a commanding lead.
Coming into the game.
The Wasps. 2nd and 1 now. And there is a handoff to Lassard. And Lassard has some room. Does he beat one defender? He does. Can he break free for the touchdown? He does. Daniel Lassard with the 51-yard touchdown run. The junior, 51 yards, made one move, made a man miss, had a couple of blockers. Nice job by Lassard. Woodstock putting up 50 points. It's another touchdown for them. This time it's Lassard running the ball in a big 51 yards. And Woodstock kneels the ball. Guess a show of respect for Poultney. They don't need to put up any more points. So with 2:03 to go here in the third quarter, Woodstock up a big 50-7. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Andrew Zerhide here on the call. We are in Woodstock, Vermont, as the Wasps are playing host to the Blue Devils from Poultney. Poultney came into this game 4-1, while Woodstock was undefeated at 5-0. Felt like Woodstock had the advantage playing at home, but also felt like this was going to be a much closer game. The Wasps just showing that they deserve to be on top of Division III. So they are up 50-7. Not even in the fourth quarter yet. 50 points through 3 quarters. That is impressive. Caden White comes off to the sideline. Don't need to use him. He's one of the Woodstock star players. Don't need to have him out there playing defense, taking big hits. So Poultney now taking over on their own 40. 1st and 10 now. And there is a handoff. I believe that's Jacob Allen.
They're still cheering. They're down 43.
Yep, getting another carry is Allen. And Jacob Allen does have Poultney's one touchdown tonight, a 25-yard rushing TD on the left sideline. Right before halftime, it seemed like Poultney then that made it 24-7. It seemed like the Blue Devils were rallying, but Woodstock marched down the field and answered right away and got those points back. And that's been it for the scoring for the Blue Devils. Little pass there. Poultney picks up about 2 or 3 yards. So about a minute to go here in the third quarter. And this is a rematch from last year's quarterfinals when Woodstock beat The joint squad of Poultney Mount St. Joseph Academy 42-20. And Woodstock will take a timeout here despite being up 50-7. So we'll take a break as well. 49 seconds to go here in the third quarter. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Harris Family Furniture in Plymouth, Laconia, and Chichester.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. We are here in Woodstock, Vermont, as the Poultney Blue Devils take on the Wasps. So far it's been all Woodstock tonight. Poultney now trying to add some more points. I think that's Jacob Allen there with another run. Picks up the first down, moves the chains. But Poultney's offense, only 7 points scoring off of a special teams turnover recovery on the fumble. So really, and that gave Poultney a 25-yard field, which they scored easily on. So really the Blue Devils have not had any deep drives here. And there is a pass, and that's over everyone. Caden Catman there with the throw. Poultney's junior quarterback. So about 22 seconds to go here in the third quarter. I believe we will see running time here in the fourth. I believe that was going to happen, but Poultney's head coach David Catman said no. So no running clock yet. And there is a throw from Catman to Jacob Allen, and Allen cannot corral the ball. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 10. And this is where most of Poultney's drives, if they've made it this deep, this is where most of them have stalled out, right around midfield. Earlier in this third quarter, they did get a little farther down the field, but then turned the ball over on 4th down. And it looks like maybe a false start on the offense, and that's what it is. Poultney gets moved back 5 yards, so now 3rd and 15. 12 seconds to go here in this third quarter. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Mascoma Savings Bank, mutually owned with no shareholders to please. If you want your local event televised into YCN's nearly 300,000 TV households, contact us at info@ycnnow.com. So 3rd and 15. Caden Catman takes the snap, looks to his left, surveys the field. Ooh. And that was number 81 there. Hit him in the hands, right in the chest. Couldn't make the catch. So now 4th and 15. I believe Poultney will punt this ball. 6 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Poultney will punt. Don't want to give up more points here if you turn the ball over on 4th down, but 50-7 score wouldn't make that much of a difference. But the punt is up and away. Woodstock had no one in the backfield to make the play. Wasn't important to them, and Woodstock will take over on about their own 12-yard line. And that is the end of the third quarter. Woodstock still up 50-7. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with all the fourth quarter action. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. We are here at Woodstock High School as the Wasps are taking on the Poultney Blue Devils. Fourth quarter just starting here. And that is Jed Astbury, I believe, on the carry. Didn't pick up the first down, but a decent run. So Woodstock up 50-7. Ben Marsicovatiri is responsible for 2 of those touchdowns with a 15-yard rush and a 35-yard rush. Caden White has a 5-yard rushing touchdown. Astbury has a 1-yard rushing touchdown with a 9-yard receiving touchdown. Daniel Lassard has a 51-yard rushing touchdown. So a number of guys getting in on the action for Woodstock. Don't just have that one player who's going to carry them. They have a number of guys. It's got to be a nightmare to defend. So Trevor White behind center. He hands it off. And there's going to be a pile. Ball is whistled dead. Small gain there for the Wasps. Looks like we are into running time now, just under 11 minutes to go. Really, I did not expect Woodstock to run away with this game like they have. 50 points here. And they knelt on their last extra point attempt, so at this point they're just trying to execute, work on some things. They don't need to put up any more points. They don't want to embarrass anyone. Just trying to execute, finish the game off the right way. Loss of yards there, and Woodstock's punting team will come out. So a 3 and out for Woodstock, but again up by 43 in this fourth quarter with under 10 minutes to go. Woodstock definitely does not need the points, so they will give the ball back to Poultney. See if the Blue Devils can add to the score before the game ends. There is the snap, pretty good one. And Jed Astbury punts that one away. Maybe a block in the back there, not sure what happened. Someone from Woodstock was not happy about that hit, but Poultney will take over on their own 47-yard line. So we'll be right back. Take a quick break. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by La Valley Building Supply and Middleton Building Supply.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week here at Woodstock High School. The Wasps are up big over the Poultney Blue Devils, 50-7 here. Just under 7 minutes to play. Poultney trying to drive down the field, pick up of about 7 or 8 yards. Blue Devils having trouble moving the ball down the field tonight. Only made it past midfield a handful of times. And they haven't been able to score on any of their drives off of kickoffs. During regular drives, they did score a touchdown off of the fumble recovery on special teams. But in terms of starting down the field, haven't seen many deep drives. And that is number 32 from Poultney. Not sure who that is. Another unlisted player from Poultney. But now under 6 minutes to go, running clock taking away. So Caden Catman behind center once again, takes the snap. Hands it off to number 32. Unlisted man, number 32 for Poultney. Nice job by the Blue Devils. A real drive there. Finding pay dirt, being rewarded. Another 6 points, that's got to feel good. And again, this extra point play where the line lines up to the left. Everyone besides the center And then they move in. And the kick is up and it is left and no good. So Poultney scoring 6 points, almost doubling their total on the night. And we will take a quick break. So with 5:32 to play in this one, Woodstock still leads big, up 50-13. We'll be right back. You've been watching the YCN Game of the Week.
This YCN segment is brought to you by Lake Sunapee Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. We are here at Woodstock High School in Woodstock, Vermont, as the Poultney Blue Devils are taking on the Wasps. 5:32 to go here in the fourth quarter. A little onside kick. Ball does not travel the necessary 10 yards though. And Woodstock will take over on Poultney's, let's go about their 46-yard line. Stay tuned at the end of our telecast for the HR Clef Kearsarge Heating Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. We'll choose the team member that had the greatest impact on tonight's contest. Number of guys from Woodstock are definitely candidates for that HR Clef Kearsarge Heating Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. Not sure who's going to get it yet. You'll have to stick around to find out. But right now, Woodstock up 50-13. 4.5 minutes to go. Looks like got some different personnel out there now. Probably some JV players taking over, trying to get some experience. And Woodstock's number 19, Chase Christensen, the sophomore quarterback, is out there taking some snaps. Wasps trying to share the playing time and also trying to keep their starters healthy. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Echo Communications. Call them for all of your printing needs and check for all of our air times by clicking on schedules at ycnnow.com. So 2nd and 10. It's number 25. It's a really solid run. Picked up about 20 or so yards. And that might be Corey White, the freshman running back. He's listed as number 15 on my sheet, but looks like he might be wearing number 25 tonight. So Corey White there with the carry, a solid one too. An all-around game tonight by the Wasps, offensively, defensively, only allowing one real in-game touchdown. The last touchdown they allowed, kind of garbage time right now. But the one touchdown off a special teams fumble. Really solid night from the Wasps. That's another run there. So 2nd and about 4 now with 2.5 minutes to go. It's been a quick fourth quarter here compared to the other quarters, obviously running time now. There's a handoff up the middle, short gain, maybe lost a couple of yards there. It's going to be about 3rd and 5. 2 minutes left. The Wasps line up to take the snap here. Number of JV players in, trying to get some experience. Short gain on the run. Not much going there. Poultney's defense strong on that one. And that'll bring up 4th and about 2. And a minute 15 to go in this game. I think now is a good time to talk about our HR Clough Kearsarge Heating Turning Up the Heat player of the game. I think we have to give that one to senior running back Caden White from Woodstock. He had another big night here. Scored 2 touchdowns. One was a 5-yard rush, and the other was a 25-yard rush. Just a big physical back from Woodstock. Doing a bit of everything here tonight. Solid night for Caden White. Congratulations to him on such a fantastic game, and congratulations to his team on the win. So Woodstock gets the first down. Chains will move. And the starters, looks like they're coming back out. And I believe they're just going to kneel the ball now. 20 seconds to go. This game just about wrapped up. Such a solid night here for Woodstock on all sides of the ball. Mostly a running team. Most of their touchdowns came via the run tonight, but Woodstock will win this one with a final score of 50-13. So congratulations to Woodstock on such a solid performance here tonight against Poultney. We wish good luck to both teams going forward throughout the rest of the fall. We want to thank you for tuning into this game. If you want to rewatch, you can always go to our website, ycnnow.com, for replays. And make sure you check out next week's game. We'll be traveling to Middlebury as the Tigers host the Seahorses of Burlington. Once again, this was the YCN Game of the Week. Thanks for tuning in.